Welcome to the deep dive. So this time, the sources you sent over were pretty interesting, all about relationships and dating, but framed within, like, English language learning materials, which is a different angle.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How core human stuff, like relationships, just comes up everywhere.
Exactly. Even when you're technically focused on grammar or vocabulary.
Mhm.
So our goal here is to, dig into that, pull out the practical advice, the key things to think about for, well, healthy relationships and navigating dating today.
Right, and there's a lot to unpack. We'll be looking at the common problems people run into, what actually makes a relationship strong, modern dating, yes, including online
Oh
dating,
yeah, the online world.
definitely, and red flags, those warning signs, plus balancing work and life, intimacy, handling conflict, and that whole independence versus being a couple thing. It covers quite a bit.
Okay, sounds good. Let's start with those common challenges then. The
Mm.
source mentioned communication breakdowns pretty prominently, and honestly, doesn't it feel like so many problems come back to that?
Yeah.
Just misunderstanding each other.
It really is foundational, isn't it? A
Yeah.
primary hurdle. And it's often not just the words, it's the assumptions, maybe, or hearing what you expect to hear, not what's actually said. Think about tone of voice.
Oh, totally. A quick text can be read in like 5 different ways.
Exactly. And it just spirals. And right alongside that, the material mentions trust issues. I mean, if you don't feel safe, if you can't rely on the other person, building anything real is, well, it's tough.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Constantly second guessing someone, that's exhausting. You're not really in it. And the source also brought up differences in values and expectations.
Yeah.
That feels almost unavoidable sometimes. People change.
They do. Priorities shift. Maybe one person suddenly becomes really focused on their career, the long hours, while the other really values quiet time together, shared hobbies. Neither is wrong, but
But if you don't talk about it,
precisely. Resentment builds. But importantly, the source doesn't just list problems, it says these can be overcome. It comes back to, you guessed it, communication. Real communication. Clear, direct, but also empathetic listening.
listening to understand, not just to reply.
Yes. And that willingness, to actually work together, find common ground, that's crucial.
Okay, so if those are the pitfalls, what about the foundations? What does the source say makes for a strong, healthy relationship?
Yeah.
What should we be building?
Well, it lays out a few core pillars. Mutual respect, that seems obvious, but it means truly valuing your partner's thoughts, their feelings, their individuality, even when you disagree.
Right, respecting them as a person.
Exactly. And trust, again, pops up as just non-negotiable. You need that security. Then communication, but with a specific focus on active listening.
Okay, what does active listening really mean in this context?
It's more than just not interrupting. It's fully engaging, trying to grasp the underlying feeling, the intention behind the words. Like, are you really listening or just planning your comeback?
Huh. Guilty as charged sometimes. I think we all are.
It's easy to do. So active listening means eye contact, maybe nodding, even summarizing back what you heard. So it sounds like you're feeling X because of Y.
Making sure you're on the same page.
Yes. And beyond that, quality time comes up, making deliberate time to connect.
Not just existing in the same room scrolling on phones.
Right. Shared experiences, meaningful conversation. And finally, something simple but powerful, showing appreciation. Just acknowledging the good things, saying thank you, it reinforces positivity, makes the other person feel seen.
Small things can make a big difference there. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Modern dating. Online dating specifically, it feels different. What does the source say about navigating that landscape?
Yeah, it acknowledges the unique challenges. A big emphasis is on honesty and authenticity. Right from the start in your profile, it's tempting, I guess, to paint a perfect picture, but
But it sets up false expectations
yeah,
for everyone involved.
exactly. And being clear about what you're looking for. Casual, serious, Being upfront helps filter matches and avoids wasted time or hurt feelings later.
Saves everyone some trouble.
Mm-hmm. And, crucially, safety. Prioritizing safety in those online interactions. Being cautious with personal info, meeting in public first. Standard advice, but really important.
Definitely essential. Okay, what about when you are meeting someone new? Red flags. What should we be looking out for, according to the source?
It highlights a few behaviors that should give you pause. Inconsistent behavior, being evasive.
Like stories not adding up.
Yeah, or always dodging direct questions about their past or their life. That signals potential untrustworthiness. Another big one is a lack of respect or empathy. Do they dismiss your feelings? Do they always put themselves first?
That suggests a pretty unhealthy dynamic, potentially.
For sure. And then more seriously, any tendency towards control or manipulation, trying to isolate you, making you feel guilty for having your own life.
Those are serious warning signs.
Absolutely. And the source really stresses trusting your gut instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Prioritize your well-being.
Good advice. It's easy to rationalize things away sometimes. Okay, relationships don't happen in a vacuum. Work, life, it all gets tangled. How does the source talk about managing that work-life balance within a relationship? It's a struggle for so many people.
Oh, it's a constant balancing act. The key takeaway seems to be prioritizing quality time intentionally. Even when you're busy, it doesn't have to be hours, but make the time count. Connect meaningfully.
Setting boundaries, too, I imagine.
Definitely. Knowing when work stops and couple time starts, protecting that time, maybe no work emails after 7 p.m. or whatever works.
I'm talking about it, right?
Yeah.
Communicating those needs.
Yes, effective communication again. Making sure both partners feel heard about their needs around work, schedules, downtime. It's got to be a discussion.
Makes sense. You can't just let work completely take over.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go a bit deeper. Intimacy and connection. How do we build that?
Well, the source points to vulnerability as being really key for that deeper emotional connection.
Being willing to show your real self, flaws and all.
Exactly, creating that safe space where you can both share fears, hopes, insecurities without judgment. And empathy goes hand in hand with that. Really trying to understand and share your partner's feelings.
And communication ties it all together.
It's the bridge, yeah. Open, honest dialogue in a supportive environment where you both feel safe. That's the goal.
So what are some practical ways to actually do that day to day?
Active listening, like we discussed. Showing appreciation and gratitude, those small affirmations matter. And making quality time a priority, even small pockets of it without distractions. It's about being intentional.
Not just assuming intimacy will happen on its own.
Right. It needs conscious effort.
And what about keeping that connection strong in a long-term relationship? When things can get, well, routine.
Yeah. Maintenance requires ongoing effort. The source suggests things like planning regular date nights, dedicated time just for the two of you, small gestures of affection, little surprises, and crucially, keep talking.
Talking about how things are changing, needs, desires.
Absolutely. You both evolve as individuals and as a couple. Staying connected to those changes is vital. You have to keep checking in.
It's definitely not a set it and forget it's deal. Okay, so conflict. It happens, even in great relationships. How do we handle disagreements constructively?
The source actually normalizes it, which I think is helpful. Disagreements are inevitable. The trick is how you handle them. Developing effective communication and conflict resolution skills is key.
So what are those skills?
Again, active listening, really try to see their side, even if you disagree. Staying calm is huge, though hard sometimes.
Easier said than done when emotions are high.
Totally. But trying to stay calm helps. Focusing on finding common ground, solutions that work for both of you, not just winning. Approaching it with empathy, trying to understand why they feel that way, that can really change the dynamic.
And what if something bigger happens, like a betrayal? The source mentioned rebuilding trust. That sounds incredibly difficult.
It's described as a monumental task, requiring huge commitment from both sides. The person who broke the trust needs to take full responsibility, no excuses. A sincere apology, and then consistent, trustworthy actions over time. Transparency, reliability, re-earning that faith.
And for the person who was hurt?
It requires a willingness eventually to consider forgiveness and to actively participate in healing, which is incredibly hard and takes time. Patience, open communication. It's a long road.
Yeah, it really sounds like it. Okay, one last major theme. Balancing being a we with still being me. Independence and interdependence. How do we manage that?
Oh, this is so important for long-term happiness, isn't it? Finding that sweet spot. The source talks about nurturing your own interests, hobbies, friendships outside the relationship. That's vital for your own growth. It prevents feeling lost in the weeds.
So you don't lose your sense of self.
Exactly. But at the same time, you also have to actively nurture the relationship itself. The shared connection, the shared experiences. It's both.
So how do you practically do both?
Well, intentionally carve out time for individual pursuits. And communicate openly about needing that space, setting boundaries respectfully. It's about ensuring both partners feel they have room to be individuals while still cherishing the partnership. When both people thrive, the relationship is stronger.
We've covered a lot of ground here, actually, all stemming from these language learning texts. It's amazing how these core ideas just keep surfacing.
It really is. Communication, empathy, trust, that balance between self and couple. They're the recurring threads, aren't they? The foundations.
Definitely. So as everyone listening thinks about all this, the dating challenges, building strong bonds, red flags, balance, intimacy, conflict, independence,
Mm.
maybe a final thought to ponder. Considering all these different parts of a healthy relationship, what's maybe one specific area, just one in your own life or how you approach dating, that you feel could use a bit more conscious attention right now? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.